And there's a cultural problem with urgent. Right? I work with some of the corporate clients. Like, urgent. It's like, not urgent.
Yeah.
They call me, it's like, urgent. It's like, what urgent? Oh, did you talk to that person? I was like, hello, sister. It's not urgent.
Yeah. It's not. Calm down, sis. We're not solving any big world issues.
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Wise and Shine. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut.
And I'm Dawn, SG Budget Babe. And today we have again another special guest because we have fired our co-host Eric for always not being around. Just kidding.
Yeah,
Eric, we love you.
Zach is like not special anymore. Zach is like a regular
Why
guest.
you say
You know,
that,
he's like regular guest now, right? And
Number 4.
Oh, I'm Zad. And I'm chewing nuts.
yeah, it's okay. It's a long day of recording.
So Warren, if you are recording this, please like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill
No, the other day I was editing. I was not editing. I was recording on the budget for another our Chinese show. I also like I'm too hungry already, so I eat the walnuts. Like, yeah, I also think so.
The sound would be like crack, 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 crack.
Exactly. So yes, today we are gonna talk a little bit about like work from home, like essentially the whole boss shit, right? Like a lot of bosses are shitting on this idea. So after 2 years of pandemic, coming out of it, you see more and more companies trying to get you back. You know, even Elon Musk, right? Like he's also leading that whole thing. Like come back to the office. He dropped the sink down there. So whatever shit lah, all the shenanigans. And I think on the ground, it feels very different because throughout the years of pandemic, it's like 2 to 3 years, we learned that you can actually work from home very well. You don't need to squeeze the morning Raffles Place commute, which is crazy. And you don't need to wake up so early to send your kids to school and then continue to go down to work. You can actually just stay at home, wake up, shower, slowly do your thing and then start. Right, so today we want to talk about the value of work from home and whether work from home should be mandatory.
And also we want to explore, right? So for people, I mean, there's always a virtue to working from office lah. We won't discount that. But for people who are generally more productive and they want to work from home because it's better in so many ways for them. And let's say they can be held accountable. They are responsible people. They're not like, saikang, they slack off, that kind. They're not abusing it. They're really using it to make themselves better and more productive. Should this group of employees be penalized by their bosses and their colleagues for wanting to stay home when everyone else is mandating work from office? What do you guys think?
I think people who mandate working at the office, right?
So
Roll eyes.
So passé.
Yeah, it's so 2019.
The times have changed 2019.
You don't get affected, this one. The show stylistically changing.
It does, isn't it? Yeah, so I think they're stuck. They still think that, we need to be together physically so that we can communicate and bonding. Oh, I cannot this is like faux bonding, F-A-U-X. Faux bonding. Not real one. This one is manufactured one. Real bonding is when you collaborate with teams, right? And then you purposely, right, have to say okay, I will meet you here. Let's meet 1 hour earlier. Okay, then we can talk about the direction and things like that. That is true collaboration. Sitting around in the office, right? Like it's like how we were discussing just now, right? I'm most unproductive in the office because I cannot work when there are other people around because I feel like I need to ask how everyone is, what's your life about.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to do the work. So a lot of the things that I do, right, conceptually, right, takes only 15 to 20 minutes to finish. But the thinking takes a very, very long time. The problem with people who wants to mandate this, right, is that mandate working, going back to the office, right? I think they don't believe that they just want to see people working.
Yeah, they want to micromanage, right?
Yeah,
I see you work, then I know you work. I cannot see means I don't know. Then I assume that you are violating all the stuff.
Which is so nonsense because I think most of my writers, right, feel more stressed when I don't message them. And then suddenly I'm like, is your story ready? Now what time ready? I thought you said you give it to me by end of day. Now we're 5 minutes past end of day. Then lama, shit. But then of course the downside to working from home, right, is output. No, so people who have sale in life, right, not putting output, right, they just faking it They're pretending to be productive, which I also can do, right?
Performance review, right?
Performance review, yeah. They cannot perform, yes. They cannot get away with it now. Now it's like very outputs based. Is that okay? I think it's okay. Every company has an output base, right? So if your whole thing, right, is dependent on like your sales, right, then so be it lah. That's your job, what?
I think also if we go back to how people learn and study, even in school we can recognize that different students have different ways of revising.
Yeah.
Like I was the student who cannot study with my friends one. I cannot study in school. I can do homework in school, but it's not like at 100% peak performance.
Yeah.
To really perform and to revise for exams, I need to be in my house, at my zone, at my table, quiet, nobody talk to me kind, and like don't even listen music and anything. Whereas some of my other friends is, must plug in earphone now, must have noise around them. And everyone learns differently, right? You know, in universities when you live in the dorm, they have like the study room. Everybody go there. And some people love that. It works very well for them. For me, it was like in my hall room, nobody talk kind. Yeah, and then like my roommate and me has to be a line that don't talk.
Yeah.
You want to talk? Okay, we can turn around, talk for like 5-10 minutes. Then okay, time to get back. Revision, don't talk anymore and go back.
Yeah.
And I think like when you are a student, it's okay. You get to mandate that, right? Because your output is then just your academic performance. Like you are in control of that. But how come as we grow up, as we adult, we cannot have that kind of freedom as much anymore? Just because we have a paymaster, our paymaster gets to dictate that. But isn't it better for the company and our work if we get to have a say in what makes us productive, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've been penalized.
I actually think that it boils down, like, I mean, since you said that it's about school, right? I think it's just extension of school, lor. School is very like in class, you sit down, you must come to school. Regardless, you must come to school. Whether you're learning anything or not doesn't matter. You must come to school.
Some people go to school, don't learn anything.
Yeah.
What they learn is outside of school hours.
As long as you fill in that chair, you must come to school. So it's the same lah.
Amazing, yeah. You all talk about school. I was like, so many memories all come out.
But it's a very good analogy, don't you think?
No, it's true because I go into the library and then my friend texted me from third floor, can you shut up? I was like, am I that loud? I was like, yes. Right. And then it's like, I function on 4-day work week. When I was in JC, 4-day work week. So Monday to Thursday, if I'm in school, then my friend will be like, hey, tomorrow you're not coming, right? It's like, how you know? It's like, because you 4-day work week. So it's like,
You're ahead of your time,
I'm very fashion forward.
Haven't even write the book, you already know.
Very fashion forward. Yeah,
I mean, when I was a student, right, every time at 11:30, right, from 11:30 to 12 noon, right, also 11:30 to 11:45, I must nap. In class. So
in class. Wow, if I'm your
at least
teacher,
I go to the CCA room and sleep.
no, I will nap in class.
Yeah.
So all my classmates know that I will nap in class and I will wake up and then I'm done. So any teacher, right, who disturb, right, they'll be like, leave him alone. He will wake up at 11:45. Then he'll be okay. He just needs to nap now. And we're not doing anything. We're just doing our own work. Let him nap. Yeah. Because I can hear. There's one time, right, I was about to fall asleep. Then I can hear my friends say like, don't disturb him. He will need sleep. Like that.
Yeah, so if we use that analogy and we extend it to working life, right? You see, what I just said if I'm your teacher, I'll be very offended. I'm like, wow, this kid, and I instinctively judge.
Yeah.
The same thing happens in the workplace, right?
Totally.
People instinctively judge if you're not in the workplace.
You know this whole working from home thing, right? I think or working in the office thing, right, is perfectly fine if the company, right, that means I go home, right, I don't work, I cannot work. If from the time in the morning I start, right, before 9 a.m. I cannot work. I should not be checking emails, blah, 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 all these things, right? I should not be doing any of this. Between 9, I only do it from 9 to 6. The thing with working from home, right, is that you get to dictate when you finish your stuff lah.
Yeah.
Right? So I always tell my writers, I let you do it wherever, whenever. Finish your work wherever, whenever. Doesn't matter to me as long as it's finished. But that also means that sometimes you might have to write at night. Because maybe you're comfortable at night. Right? But in the day, I will still need you lah. But I give you the flexibility lor. But it means that you're working, the danger of working from home, right, is that your working hours, right, is very like not flexible.
A bit too flexible sometimes.
A bit too flexible because the bed and the computer, right, is so
like
near.
it's like you flexible.
Yeah.
You know,
It's suddenly like, it's like
hey,
on the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you think
But
that
it's quite a privileged view, just saying.
It
right?
is,
In
it
the sense
is.
that, there are a lot of people that cannot.
Cannot work from
Yeah.
home, yes.
There's no such thing, right?
Some people really cannot work from home and they have to go to office
Yeah.
because the space at home or the kids or what doesn't
Yeah.
allow for that, right?
No, it's not
So we
even
can
that. It's like
understand.
some work you have to be there,
Oh,
right?
yes,
Like,
yeah.
it's
Like
so,
some service kind of work, you have to physically be
on the
there.
manufacturing line doing some service and all that. You just cannot, like, I cannot service you on like hotel reception.
Okay, but let's,
It's
let's
like, I
delineate
zoom in,
it.
huh?
If we focus on zooming on discussion, your work can be done whether
Yes.
in person
So
or
we assume that
at
lah.
home. Yeah,
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
the assumption here. But should you be penalized? Should bosses have the right to force it on you and give you the dark eye? if
You never
don't
watch
come
their
in?
TikTok, man? They got the boss play table
Oh.
tennis. There's this TikTok viral on Rise Media. There's this guy, they come and then like play table tennis with them, and then like they're talking about it. And then I think the Gen Z guys were saying like mental health, all that lah.
Yeah, he
all
was
the-
saying so it's the older guy, he's Gen Y, I think, or millennial or older millennial. He said, you can don't come to work, but I can don't pay you lor.
Yeah. Oh, I don't pay you the bonus. No bonus.
I don't pay you bonus.
Yeah,
lah.
I don't pay you
So-
bonus.
Got flat.
Yeah, so to answer your question, right? Bosses can give you a side eye.
Of course.
But you also can leave.
Of course. Right? Yeah.
And I think that is the greatest and that is the best reaction that you can do.
Okay, but you see, there's something wrong in that statement already. You see, the person can leave.
Mm.
Some people cannot leave.
Correct, it's true. So if you cannot leave, then you just have to something has to be
Tahan
managed lah, right? Yeah, just tahan lah. But you set your own boundaries lah. You know, you gatekeep lor. You gatekeep certain things lah.
But sometimes it's difficult, right? Like imagine for people where they are more of an introvert or they work with quiet, not with people around. They're more productive that way. But because they have to go into office because their bosses give them the side eye when they are not, then they are never at peak performance. So they also cannot climb as much because they
That's an
don't
interesting
reach the
point,
best
yes.
of their abilities. Then in this case, it's the chicken egg problem. On one hand, they know to get higher, they would need this, but yet they are afraid or cannot, due to their circumstance, voice it out and, no, I'm going to do this and really put their foot down because they know if they do that, the boss will just let them go and find someone else who can be in office to do the work. Then how? And someone else can take their place, be in office and more productive because they're just programmed that way.
Oh.
Right? Then how? It's not really fair, right?
Then I think in that case, right, that's where like during the interview process you have to make clear lor, what is the working environment like lah. So that's what I got at my new job, right?
Provided you are starting from scratch lah. But
Yeah.
what if you are in the organization already?
Yeah, then it becomes like for me really, right, it is really a deal breaker. If you ask your employees to come back to work, it's really a fucking deal breaker.
For me
know,
as well,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, I really don't understand how you all think that. Yeah, they will come to office and they will do work one. It's like,
No lah, really.
Please, it's so
Yeah.
much more stressful, right, for you to do output based.
Yeah.
Because I don't talk about your personality. I don't talk about your how you go out for lunch with people.
I just talk about your quality of
Yeah,
work.
and
what
I think
comes
that
out.
is what I'm paying you for, right?
Yeah.
I have a story. So in the previous company that I was at, which you all can research. So anyway, I'm Zad from Rise Media, head of content. So I have so the story that I have, right, was from my previous company. So my boss said, you all have to come back to the office like twice a week. It's like, okay, fine, come back to the office twice a week, it's fine. Say, but you all also must have lunch together.
Huh?
Then this was the time, right, where there was a cap on the number of people that can have lunch together. I think it was 5. And our company had like 10 people. So he's like, no, we all must go out for lunch together, but we can separate, but we all must go out for lunch together. I'm like, why? Why am I having lunch with you? I don't have lunch with you. But then he will make it feel like as if it would be part of your review. Like during the performance review, like he'll say, I realize that you seldom go for lunch with the team members. Why is that? So I'll be like, why are you asking me this? How does this affect anything? Morale is not down, what? Productivity is not down. Why are you putting this? Like, this is a reflection of the boss.
Yeah.
The boss don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
The boss don't want to be...
Sometimes it's because the boss doesn't want it, so they enforce it.
Yeah, it is rubbish. I hate when
Or sometimes like the boss himself cannot work from home, so and he will choose to Skype if he's at home. So he assumes that
Everybody will be
everyone
like
is
that.
like him.
Yeah. So when the office closes down, right, I was told that he actually asked people like, once a week, you all must come to my house and work.
Huh?
Yeah. Like, for real? Or okay, by that time, I've left the company lah. Right, it's like, but this is what I heard. I don't know whether they actually put through with that or not. But
okay, but I think it's a means to the end, right? In the sense that what he wants is like a bonded team and all that. But we can bond in many other ways. We don't need to like force each other to have lunch together. It's like the awkward like wedding dinner like that, right? Like you sit with a bunch of people that's like, I have no interest
because bonding can also take place in like small moments. You know, like let's go for coffee.
Yeah.
You know, or like I need you.
or like a mutual stand on some like some concert or something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you see that?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is a
or-
form of bonding.
Yeah.
Not that I
or-
do that lah.
Yeah, or going outside. Or outside of office hours, right? You meet a person, you know, like, shall we just meet for lunch? Because I know some of my writers do that. They'll meet each other on weekends. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, you're not enough.
Yeah,
You're
not enough, is it? You all every day also
Every
talk to each
day.
other.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, but then we never talk about things outside of work one.
So, okay, fair
So
point.
now we talk about things outside of work. So that's great.
Yeah.
So we do communicate outside of work, beyond the confines of work. Like, I think all these has to be organic lah. Don't force it lah. For
Yeah.
what say?
No, you
Okay,
can
but-
you can build systems to support it. Right? Like, okay, we got like, I don't know,
Staff day.
or like budget, right? I give you a budget, y'all can go and dine with the colleagues.
Team
you know, you
bonding
got bonding
day.
budget, and the bonding budget, not everybody must pull together one, you know. It's like, I give $50, $100, whatever, and then, you know, like, you can decide who you want to bond with lah. Go for it, right? As a company, we can set up systems like that to support, right? To provide, or like even have like beautiful places for you to hang out, right? In the office, you know. I think those are possible. And like the sleeping pod, there was a period of time there was a sleeping pod, remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of
The
my
tech
friends, like,
firms
whether from
especially.
HR or whatever, they tell me nobody's a sleeping pod. I was like, you know why? Because the boss never go there and sleep. If the boss go there and sleep, and then like,
It
you know,
normalizes it.
normalize very periodically, then okay, you will see people sleep. And is that your goal? If that is what you want, you do that. Get your leader to come down to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's way more complicated than, hey, let's just eat together and then macam everything is good.
Yeah.
Or to on the other side, right, it's not as simple
Yeah.
as just getting everyone to come together for dinner or for a birthday or for like
to be in the
karaoke,
office. Yeah.
or eat pizza together. You know, it's like, it's not. I think human relationships are more complex than that, and more often than not, we thrive when the interaction, right, comes very naturally. Yeah.
I mean, okay, so let's look at a scenario. Let's say we use the assumption that this is for a team project that you need to really work in a team, cannot work in isolation. It's not like project work, you do this, I do that, then we put together and fill out the puzzle. It's really like collaboration, like creative stuff and all. Is it okay if 3 employees are in office and then 2 of them, for some reason, they work better at home, so they decide to dial in? That should be, I mean, ideally, we want a situation where that's okay, right?
Yeah.
So you have your team meeting 3 in person, 2 dial in by Zoom. Your team meeting still happens, one. But I think the reality also is we cannot discount the fact the 2 who chose to dial in, they'll be given a side eye by the colleagues.
They will.
Some?
Okay.
Or the boss
Yeah.
may not like it. The
It's
team
okay,
leader will
okay.
be like, I'm here in person.
Okay, so
Why
I'm
you
the
cannot?
boss.
Why
I will
must
tell
dial
you.
in?
Okay, I'm the boss. So it's like, I am okay with the person dialing in, but I also know the quality of the discussion will be different
Yes.
because we are not holding space for everybody. In other words, I'm only holding space for the people on set. Everyone else that is dialing in, I cannot be holding space for them. It's hard. It's not that I cannot. I can make a conscious decision to check in. Are you okay? Are you okay?
But it's harder.
It's harder. So then it becomes that I have to allocate a certain amount of bandwidth to hold space for a bigger space than I usually need to.
Fair enough, fair
You know,
enough.
which is why I get it why managers want to call everybody, and not just the big bosses, right? Managers want to call everybody in sometimes for like, you know, ideation stints or like, you know, like project updates. But sometimes I feel that they just use it too loosely.
Yeah.
Like you know, like I get it. Like big important project, we meet 2 times, you know, or something before it, and then we AR after that. Okay, can. You know, I think those things are important, and we should let everybody know in advance. This is the checklist line. This one, and of course, because you let them know in advance, because it's important. If you last minute call, then you know it's different, right? Yeah. Then how important is it? Right?
Actually, I'm kind of hearing one potential solution really,
Yeah.
which is communication.
Yeah.
So if the boss or the manager needs that for this reason, and they communicate to the 2 people who are going to dial in, then leave it up to the 2 to decide. Then now as the employee, I'll be like, okay, I really need to dial in because like my kid is sick and no one else is taking care. I can't get babysitting.
Okay lah.
But I understand my boss also a bit hard lah. So okay, how about I just dial in this time? But then on other times, I try to make it so that I can be there physically as much as possible because I recognize my boss needs this. And then my boss also needs to recognize that I'm not doing it because I'm this selfish prick who just wants to dial in and don't care about your feelings. But after you communicate that, then we can work towards a viable solution that works for both people.
So
But that communication doesn't really happen.
exactly. So that's the thing, right? Like I totally understand like communication is the thing. And it's like the magic pill these days, right? Everything is communicate. But
But
you must
sometimes people are scared to communicate.
it's hard. There is a power differential in this.
Yeah.
Right, where I'm your paymaster, I get to decide a lot of things. You can say whatever you want to say, but at the end, who grades you?
That's where the bosses have to learn lah.
Exactly.
Right? Bosses need to unlearn and relearn.
And
lor.
I think that's the part that the crux of the discussion is that part. A
Yeah.
lot of bosses and managers are not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, they after the pandemic, you know, they are forced by their shareholder or whatever, like, okay, now open already. I want to see like double the revenue
Yeah.
from last year so that we can make up for whatever we have lost. So they revert to the same old ways lah. Okay, everybody come back to office. Everybody come in. And then the perception is once everybody come in, we are back to the old days.
Oh,
everything
yeah.
is good. Right? So and I think that's the part that on one end, I get it, the familiarity side of things, but because I built the whole company remotely, so I don't feel that, you know, that whole like, oh, we must be here. You know what I mean?
You know, I actually have been in this situation many times where some people are in person, then some people are offline, right?
Yeah.
I see some people are in person, some people are online. And it actually really works because it's such a directed meeting. I mean holding space is great, right? But it's more like, give me your updates. You, okay, you, okay, done. Well, you can, thank you, bye.
Yes,
30 minutes.
I think
we're
it also
out.
rests on the team members. Imagine
Yeah.
if you're the one downing in but you never contribute. You always keep quiet. And you only dare to talk when you're in person, the board look at you.
Yeah, but that's
Very
where
hard to look at the person on
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah, but that's where like people need to start setting proper agendas
Yeah,
lah.
correct. And
for meeting.
expectation.
Don't just go in. You know when I first came into Rise, right? The meetings were long and laborious, lengthy. I'm like, why? 15 minutes can finish already. What?
I know.
Done. Let's go.
Email
Because-
can finish.
Yeah. I think if
Don't
you
need a
if-
meeting, just send an email.
Exactly. Sometimes you just don't need to have a whole team there. You just maybe need to talk to like two people, and then the person will communicate to someone else. Then you're out of the loop.
Yeah.
No, and I had to actively tell people I don't want to be in this chat group on Slack, right? Like, don't put me in this chat group. You don't need me there. You can settle this on your own. Don't put me there until last minute. Then like, okay lah, you know what? Just put me inside lah. Since you need me for this, then put me inside lah. But I seldom respond. So like even like when my team members ask me, Zad, can you help me check this? Can you help me? I really don't have time to check. If I have time, I will check. No, but I just have to trust that you all are doing your own stuff. So agendas are very important in meetings. You cannot just expect the person to be there like, just because like, oh, maybe it's just in case just get this person in. Why? This doesn't have too much things to do. You want to increase sales, you want to increase productivity, right? Give this person time to do the things that they need to do. Don't just put them in a meeting. I've had my managing director, right, Kai, be on a meeting, right, while he is in the car, he's not driving, but he's in the car because he has to stop and he's coming from somewhere just to take that meeting. So we know like time is of the essence. Yeah, just quickly edit, update, then go. Don't like talk about your feelings, all this. And I feel like with Rise, right, they whenever someone strays, right, unless we're giving creative space to stray, whenever someone strays, right, somebody will bring them back and say, okay, let's talk about that later. Now we talk about this first. That one can be another meeting. Yeah, that's what I like lah.
So two key solutions are coming up now. One is, when you do need to have meetings, have the agenda properly set out.
Yeah.
And then the other one is communication. So if you have that meeting and then you find that the person who is dialing in online is not contributing as much as you expect them to, then the manager should have the onus to, after that, do an AR of the person.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed that you dialed in. Can you, share me why instead of physically? Is there a limitation? And then but I'm also disappointed because I realized you're not as productive. You didn't contribute as much. So would it be too much if I ask you to come back? I think if we have the space for those discussions, that would be beneficial for everyone.
Or in fact, right, if the person is not contributing, like you can ask the person, are you not contributing because you don't feel like you need to be in this meeting? That's why you have nothing to contribute because you're not the right person to be in this meeting. It could be really could be that.
So it's really about having more open conversations in a safe space.
No, not just that. I feel like we need to be more process oriented. Right. There's so okay. I think this is a bigger problem with like mid-sized companies. Okay, like small companies, right? 5 of us, like very quick we can solve things. Once you have like multiple teams, right, and then they gotta work around different things, then that's the time when you need like a HR leader, you need like a process system manager. Then okay, this thing is getting clunky. We need to sort out. And then as you move along, if you can scale, definitely you have systemized some of these things. And then you see a lot of big companies, like sometimes the system get too big, too many systems that impede their progress. But I do think a lot of the companies, they are getting people to come in, right away. It's like, okay, now business as usual, everybody come back in. Other people like mid-size, they don't really have as much systems in place. And they have what I call a lot of corridor management. right? You walk past the corridor, hey, remember that thing? Hey, last week that thing you finished? Oh yeah, a client just come in, that one. Corridor management, right? If you systemize everything, it's just a chat away, Notion, tag you, I change this, immediately you get a ping on Slack, automated stuff.
Yeah.
It can reduce a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And you can be anywhere. You can be at a cafe downstairs, and all that shit. You don't need to be in the office, right? And this is the part where I think the middle management are lousy. Today's middle management, a lot of them haven't come up to this level, where you just like systemize, right? So if you can systemize very clearly, I always tell the team, right, I keep seeing you all talk to this person, talk to that, we're gonna automate this signal, right? Once you finish, you go into this tab, you tap, done. Next person will take over the work. Life continues. So much easier.
Yeah.
Can you check this? No, cannot check. Right? If you want me to check, just change the status. I will get auto ping. I know. Right? And I think that's the part of the corridor management that is so essential in smaller or mid-sized companies that don't have these kind of processes in place. Right? And that's why to them it's like, you don't come to office, you're not as productive.
Yeah.
Right? Other than the output driven way of measuring, which I also believe you can work anytime. I have one producer in the past, right? Work midnight one. Nighttime, like cut at night, next morning, everything goes out. Yeah, then for a period of time, I asked him, hey, can you work normal hours like everybody, because I need to talk to you sometimes. So it's like, oh, okay, I wake up a little bit earlier, right? And then suddenly we decided, okay, we're gonna do same day turnaround show. And he was like, you see, because I work London hours, so I can do this. I was like, yes, I learn, right?
Yeah.
So, and all these are learning processes as the leader, as a manager, as a boss. You work through these things, right? And then you start to find okay, so this is how it's done. What needs to be systemized? Sometimes we need the in-person, we need, but when we are in person, how do we maximize our in-person time together to achieve the goals that we want to achieve? And not what do you think? It's like, what do you think? Right? I will let you know in advance. These are the questions I'm going to ask. Plan, we talk. Hey, I hope you're enjoying Wise and Shine so far. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut, and for us to continue to do this show so that you become a tad bit wiser every week, you gotta like, share, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm, but even more importantly, if you can, comment in the comment section below, let us know your thoughts and also some questions that you would love us to answer. Yeah, now back to the show. Right? And I think it's not so much just communication and management of, manage up is a complex topic, right? You should learn to manage up, but it's also a lot of this kind of if you are the manager, can you improve on that?
Yeah.
I
I think the change, right, a lot of it rests on the middle managers.
It does.
Because if the managers, we can't always expect the old school CEO, the architect CEO to immediately change overnight.
Yeah.
But I guess if the managers in his organization, they really each are being more sensitive to the needs of their team members. They're moving more towards measuring on output and not just assuming the worst out of your workers all the time. And if that culture then starts to become more ingrained and bigger, more widespread in the company, right? What does the architect CEO have to say?
Yeah.
If he don't align to it, then he will lose all his people.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? There is a cultural shift going on. Whether you like it or not, people enjoy the idea of being able to work from home. Right? That means it doesn't mean every day at home, right? Sometimes you'll be hey, let's go to the cafe and discuss this thing together. 3 or 4 of us. Hey, office damn sian. Let's go to this cool cafe and then we talk there, right? Or sometimes we have to come into the office because for whatever reason we come in, right? And all that. So it becomes a fluid work from anywhere, right?
Yeah, work from anywhere.
Not just home, right? You work from anywhere. And it is a cultural shift. I get so many people that I talk to say, hey, you need to hire or not? You need more people? Right? When I talk to them, they're like, I'm in the office, very sian. I was like, yeah, I know you're in the creative work, right? Very sian, right? What are you doing in the office? Right? And then they were like, so then how do you all manage? Everybody work from home, or work from anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? My teammate just went on the cruise. Then he landed at the port, right? Then start to do all the things. It's like Port Klang, Penang port. It's like, wow, you also number one, And sometimes they, we go to different places, and as long as you can systemize and make that work, actually as a company you become more attractive.
Yeah.
Because it is a cultural shift.
I get very worried when I see my writers in the office. It's like, why are you here?
Maybe some of your writers perform better in the office.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And if that happens, great.
Yeah. Then we will give you the space to do the work, right? But if you
not
cannot,
all.
yeah. For example, Ilyas, right, loves working from the office. He's he has made the office his home. Got plants, got oat milk,
got very complex snack offerings.
Correct. Oh my
very
God.
complex one.
Very.
Yeah, I was like, wow, what is all these things? Got
Yeah,
the China one, got
Yeah,
the
yeah.
American one, got Japanese one, all there.
Yeah, before
Yes,
before he came in to like buy to order pantry stuff, right? We are like there's a dearth of pantry things. Then when Elias comes in, right, then it's like suddenly you have like chips, and he really loves it. So he makes it like his home, right? Because he's always there. And for him, it's great, But he doesn't tell you like you need to stay in the office. I'm like, bye. After lunch, I'm going off. Bye. And they know that I have something else to do. Or I have something else to attend to, right? Same with my writers, when they're inside, and I'm like, you don't have anything to research, man. You got no one to interview, no one to follow up on. Why are you here? It's very strange for me. But I want to tell you, right, like time, I think a good idea of making sure the agenda is like on track, right, is when I had to call in with you. There was during the budget discussion, right, I called in and I say, can we talk about the questions? The first thing you asked me, I remember, was, right, it's just you and me.
Yeah.
No one else. And I'm like, who else do you think will be here? My
Yeah.
producer? Why would they need to be here? I tell them the questions, right?
Yeah.
Or in fact, you actually have the list of questions.
Yeah.
I just give them
I prep already.
Yeah, I
right?
give them that. So they don't really need to be in this meeting for what, say? Such a waste of time.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, oh, you're so fashion forward.
Very.
That's like, because every time people ask me pitch meeting or like content meeting, it's like, what are all these people doing here for? I see
Yeah.
the list, it's like, they cannot even contribute. They don't even know what the shit they're doing,
Yeah.
right?
And the second time that you called me, right, I was actually on the way somewhere else.
I know.
So I was on the WhatsApp call with you, right? But I can still be clear about what I want and things, right? And I think that is like the mark of not to say that I'm a good leader or what, but it's because I don't like to call so many people into one meeting. And I don't like people to do that with me.
Value
as well.
people's time. I think that's important.
You
They-
respect people's time.
Yeah, they have things to do. Yeah, I think working from home, right, working from anywhere, right, is about respecting people's time.
Yeah.
And giving them the space and the flexibility, right, to work how they think they should work to achieve maximum productivity.
Yeah.
If you're a
Exactly.
boss, right, at the end of the day, at the end of the term, right, you realize that this person is not working well, then you can judge them because of the output, right?
It's
But
true.
then if not, then just let them work the way they want to work. Why are you holding on to all these dated, ancient beliefs that, FaceTime is very important? Why? Why is that important? Why?
Open office concept. Proven to
Yeah.
be failed. This is
It's
horrible.
so rubbish.
I think also as society, we need to have a broader appreciation that everyone is just programmed differently.
Yes.
What
I
makes
agree.
us function at our peak is different. We are okay with that when we're students. But how come that all disappears when we go into the workplace, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, some people work very well London hours. Some people work very well when the sun must be just nice, come out. I got that nice orange glow. Then I'm at maximum productivity.
That's
Some
me.
people,
That's me. That's why all the difficult tasks is all in the morning. Then my clients are, why you send me at 6 a.m? Because I'm not going to talk to you after 3 p.m. Right? I'm going to nap from 3 to 4.
yeah, that's not me.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
before 10 a.m, I'm half asleep.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
be in that meeting, but I am still half asleep. My brain just doesn't function at 100%. So if we, as a broader society, and for middle managers out there, we have a better appreciation of this fact. And with like what you say, trust your people more, measure based on output, and then if they're not performing, don't cut immediately. I will have that conversation to find out and communicate that, hey, you're not performing. Would bringing back in office
Yeah.
work better and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Respecting people's time and all. I think that would really lead to a more productive workforce. And
Yeah.
it's something that we need.
Yeah.
Because with AI coming up, right, I think if the humans don't evolve and become more productive, very soon AI will really take over
we already
everything.
talked about the churner and the episode, right? Churner is going to all go, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT no more, right?
Yeah.
No churners. All you got to think, you got to ideate. So it is to me, there's two big shifts, right? One is the change of work. Right, work has changed over time. Right, a lot of these like very industrial era policies of like, okay, you must be on the
where you
industry
physically
line.
have to be there to
Business-
operate the machine.
Yeah.
Don't need
All
now
those,
remote
all,
already.
all those
press
need to
button.
go, right? All those need to go. Of course, depend on your work structure. If you're not privileged that way, that you can have the option, we can have a different discussion, right? But if your work is thinking work, creative work, you gotta like, solve problems, you gotta do all that, right? You really shouldn't be on the office line, right? Like just let the people go.
Unless
Yeah.
the office is that safe space for like that colleague.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah, so of course, if for example you don't have an office space, right, and then you want to have you should if your employee, you don't have an office space, but your employee needs a space outside a home, because the home is not conducive.
Office
'Cause not-
budget.
Yeah, correct. Office budget. Because not everybody's home is like mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like my house, right, is like
Enough,
the best.
enough.
It's
You
like
market
the-
many episodes
Yeah,
already.
the best way to sit down and like drink coffee, sit still, right?
know.
But not everybody is like that, right? And if they don't need to go out, right, you just say like, you know what, I'm going to give you a budget.
Yes.
Like whatever, if you want to go to a cafe, you need to be with other people, right? Just claim law. It's not the most expensive thing in the world. Right? It's definitely much cheaper than having a rental for an office.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's really the old school CEOs who really
Yeah.
cannot keep up with
no,
time.
actually, during the COVID era, there were a lot of CEOs that also came up with this, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna fix you up on your home, give you like budget for chair, nicer chair,
Yeah.
better keyboards, everything to help the people kind of get on it, right? To like, because your house was never built for that work process, right? But I think like, we can go a little bit further on like, okay, there are many different things,
Yeah.
lah.
And don't come back to like the old times lah.
Immediate, right? Like, it's like immediately come back. That's the
Yeah.
part that I find a bit annoying.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
Every crisis should be according to Ong Yi Kung, right? Every crisis should be an opportunity for change.
Yeah.
And I
then we
think,
did see that with the pandemic. It's
Yeah.
just that people want to reset too soon.
yeah, but why? Why you want to go back to the office? Office got what?
Yeah. I mean,
Office
okay,
got
just
office
to play
rental.
the
Yeah.
just to play the
capitalist shit.
devil's advocate, right? I mean, prior to the pandemic, it's understandable that people have to go to the office because security is a very big thing.
No, that is
And
that is still a big thing.
Yeah,
That's still a big thing.
security technology at that stage had not yet evolved to the point where it is now, where because of the pandemic, it got more secure.
Yeah.
Today, though, there is still, I can understand those who don't want people to work from home. There is always that concern that they can take their phone, take picture. I may ban the plug-in of thumb drive and all, but nothing stops a person from using their handphone and take picture, right? So there is still that valid concern. So can understand if they force their people to go back to
Yeah.
office. But
Yeah.
I think this is also where someone who needs that work from home, right? They can have that conversation and then maybe just avoid those industries where that is more of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, choose the right job, lor.
Correct.
There are cultural fits, right? Like, you cannot be in the newsroom and relax, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot be like,
It's
you
like
want
on
to be the
fire all the
newscaster,
time, right?
then you are only always broadcasting from your bedroom.
Yeah,
A bit
yeah,
hard.
Yeah.
It cannot. I mean, we do long form. Some people like you write, you research, you think. Like a lot of researchers. I don't know why all my friends become researchers. But a lot of these things, right? They're not time sensitive. There's a project timeline. It's much longer. But if you're in a newsroom, you are in the hospital, you're doing all these things that, like, hey, on the fly, there's just a lot of things changing. You may not be on the line, but management is very hectic and it's on the fly. Then it is a cultural reality of the job, cultural reality of the organization. So I do think we must give some slack on that also when it comes to like, okay, this is the job requirement and you must be clear.
Speaking about Slack,
Yeah.
right?
Like
so I
Slack
think
sponsor.
Slack, the app, right?
Wow, suddenly today's
Slack.
episode is sponsored by
So I think with apps like Slack, right, where you can actually say that you are away, how long are you away for, and things like that, right? Then I think if companies have that, right, where everybody is accountable for where they are at one particular point in time, right, and trust that the only reason why they're not replying is not because they're asleep, it's because they are busy, they're actually doing something.
They're in the toilet shitting.
Yeah. So you cannot expect, like, if you plan your work properly, right, you don't have to be at this, like, in this point, right, where you actually have to you really have to wait for someone to reply you before you can start doing things.
Yeah.
If that person is really busy, right, and you suddenly last minute have these things, right, you cannot expect this person.
Yes.
It's so unfair.
Yeah.
So if for instance, like, for instance, this whole like 3778 thing, right, where everyone had to publish at the same time, right, and on the weekend, right, I am all of us, we are on our phone, right, and whenever we need something, like, we quickly do it. So everybody is waiting for updates and things like that. But then usually most times, like for now, right, like if I message one of my video producers, right, if they don't reply on time, I'm like, yeah, they're not even doing work on. They won't just don't reply lah.
No, even if you're playing cat, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right, because to me, that's
Nothing is too urgent lah.
Yeah.
It's
Urgent.
that
Don't get me
trust.
started on urgent.
Yeah, nothing.
There's a cultural problem with urgent. Right? I work with some of the corporate clients. Like, urgent. It's like, not urgent.
Yeah.
They call me, it's like, urgent. It's like, what urgent? Oh, did you talk to that person? I was like, hello, sister. It's not urgent.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe playing my cat more urgent because I need that.
Yeah.
Like it gets me to to get other things done, right?
Yeah, and I always tell my writers, right, don't stress. We're not solving the cure for cancer. we're not finding the cure for cancer. Don't worry. It can wait one. It can wait. Don't stress.
Yeah.
People always think that this thing that they're doing, right, is like the most like highest priority. It's not. Calm down, sis. We're not solving any big world issues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it can wait.
Yeah, but to be
I
clear,
think that also happens because drawing back to what you said earlier, they don't respect other people's time.
Yeah.
They prioritize their own time at the expense of other people. That's why, right? They say urgent, but actually to that other party, it's not that urgent.
yeah, but I think okay, although we lean one side lah. I think today's episode is quite clear, right? Work from anywhere is the way forward, right? If can, we do it. If it's flexi work hour, also okay, right? I mean, at least there's options. You don't feel penalized, by all that. But I think we also should cut some slack that a lot of organizations are indeed going through a process of change,
Yeah.
right? And for us, it's like not saying like, oh yeah, you never change. You like malu, like you old school.
Communicating
Yeah,
and
yeah.
asking for that change.
Yeah, and like bit by bit lah, give some time. But to be clear, it is a marketplace of talent crunch. If you take too long to change, then out you go lah.
Yeah.
Right. Like everybody will jump.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up another point about appreciation because, like, for me, right, I felt I was the most productive in my career when I was allowed to work fully from home. And then, of course, like, I also get bored sometimes, lah. Then I
Yes.
will set meetings with colleagues or clients just so that I have that interaction. But it's very self-directed.
Yes.
Right, and because my bosses don't micromanage, I feel like generally as humans we are more appreciative when people trust us.
Yeah.
We want to live up to that trust because
Yeah.
if we abuse that trust, then there's consequence, right? And once the trust is broken, it's very hard to rebuild and all of that. So as a result, like yesterday, my manager asked me for something. And if I were to just, my working hours is tomorrow lah. Tomorrow then I give you the answer. But she is in a different time zone, have to wait very long. So what I did was I was very happy. I didn't like have any grumpiness when I was like, okay, let me just open a laptop, get it done, spend 15 minutes sending out. And there's no grudges because it's respecting each other's time.
Yeah.
You respected my time when I need it. Now you need it. And I understand if I go back to my boundary, my time, it will delay your side. So I'm more willing to put in the extra stuff when it comes to it. And this whole appreciation culture, I feel it is one big thing about talent retention. People spend so much money in how to retain talents, must upgrade their skills and make the office very attractive and all. But actually, it can be as simple as just appreciate and trust your employees, right? Allow them to become the best, to self-direct and be the best version of themselves while still opening the space for them to ask for help and mentorship. That can actually be the best way to retain talent.
Yeah, use
Not pay or anything else.
yeah, use urgency sparingly lah. Right, like I like we have like in my team, I tell them like, okay, I will not use the word urgent because in my dictionary, urgent is urgent. I will call you until the phone break. That's why it's called urgent. I will not send you an urgent email. Like what the is that? It's like urgent email. There's no such thing. I will call you until you pick up, right? But if I tell you something, the natural question the natural answer shouldn't be okay. The natural question should be like, when do you need this? Right? So like then we have that, we build that.
Or upfront you can say, here's the task, I need it by 2 days later, can or not?
Yeah, can it be done, right? And to be clear, if cannot be done, you must tell me cannot be done, right? And it's a cultural shift because if I don't give you enough comfort to say no, then it may just become a cesspool and just spirals downward, right? And all these are all like cultural work, kind of thing. And it's all an extension of why people are not comfortable with you just working from home lah. Because then you self-manage your time, you self everything, right? Yeah.
Lack of trust, so like power, the power imbalance and things like that. So this power imbalance thing, right, really comes to play when like it's like what you say. Sometimes they will ask like for certain things after hours, right? Then you're like, okay, I'll give you. And they will be okay with it. So for example, for me and my team, right, I feel very guilty, right, if I message them past 7 o'clock. I feel so guilty. I say, I'm so sorry. And for a moment in time, right, we all don't exchange phone numbers because we don't want to message each other on WhatsApp. But then sometimes no choice, right? So I'll tell my social media person, okay, I know I just need you for this number of hours. Then you can just claim. You claim off. Maybe Monday you come in later. It's fine. I don't care. But for this one, I just need your help for this one. And they're like, okay, it's fine. Because I give them so much freedom. I don't like, where are you now? What are you doing? How come it's not done?
I think it's also very reflective of a change in management style. When the moment you say, you feel guilty after.
I feel so guilty.
I feel so guilty
but
also.
some managers no guilt one. I message you 11 p.m. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've known managers like that. So we need these managers to grow up, recognize that things
Yeah.
are changing. And when we have more managers who adopt this new approach of respecting each other's time, try not to do it, then I think also the other side are like, my manager seldom do it. The fact that he or she is doing now, I think he really need me. I better faster.
Yes,
so
yes,
it's like
yes,
the boy who
yes.
cried
Yeah.
wolf, right? You do so often,
Yeah.
your other person also don't
Yeah.
respect already.
Actually, it goes up all the way to the top, no? Like Mark, right? My CEO, right? Is also like that. He will like, Zat, I'm so sorry. I know I shouldn't be messaging you now, but I really need to check, right? Is this okay or not? Can you find out and see whether this is fine? He's like, yeah, it's fine. It's sure.
It's cool,
Because
right, in
You
that
only
way.
disturb me once a week.
Yeah,
Mm.
That is fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
It's
but
true,
he did it
it's
every
true.
day, then you stop reacting as fast
correct,
already,
yeah.
right?
true.
Yeah, these boundaries, right? While the boundaries are set, right? It is flexible if people give you the due consideration as well. You know, it's just a give and take lah. Must really give and take.
Yeah.
And this takes account things to account. Like just now you say some people work very well at midnight. So Kai, right, my managing director, works very well at 4 a.m. So he will send messages at 4 a.m.
Why you wake up
Yeah,
at
so
4
I was like,
a.m.?
why are you messaging people at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, yeah.
But he don't expect us to reply. He just said that's the time that I wake up and I'm like finishing all this stuff. Because if I don't finish all this, then I will bring over to the actual work day. Then I will have no time.
Mm.
You know, so I'm like, so that's why he does this way lah. I start editing at 7:30 in the morning. So I will wake up at 7, then I'll start editing at 7:30 in the morning. I'll leave comments in the document until like 8:30 or 9. Then after that, by the time 9 o'clock, right? Because our working hours 9:30, right? Then 9:30 they will start to edit the stories lah. Then it's ready for, blah, 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 lah. Then I tell them, right, I only edit at 7:30, right, so that I can have anything to do at 3 o'clock.
Mm.
And I always have nothing to do at 3 o'clock because I'm just waiting for you all to ask me questions lah. Like you all always want to huddle lah, always want to get into a call lah. Like, sure, it's fine. Or if they're not even ready for a call, right, sometimes I will ask, like, can we do a quick huddle? Then they'll be like, I'm actually in the middle of something. So okay, fine. Tell me when you can do it. Then I'll just let you know, lor. Then that's it, lah. Very flexible, lah. It's really a power thing. It really is a power
It
I
thing.
is.
think recognizing, right, like it also came about because in the older era, people were paid by the hour.
Yes. Oh
So
God, yes.
naturally, you would have it would create this culture whereby you need the person in office because otherwise you don't know whether you're really getting the out of it, right? And then if the person in office finish this amount, but actually got spare time, you can increase their productivity and the organization squeeze out more of the person. That's also better for the company. But I think now we have to be more conscious of the fact that AI and technology is 24/7. Humans are not. So if we allow for this kind of flexibility, I think that's the only way that humans can continue progressing forward in the new era of work. Because when we're no longer bound by hours, but by our output and how much we can contribute, that's how we can keep our edge over AI.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, you want the always on human, the robot will just win.
Yeah, and that's how you retain talent also, lah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I think we are broadly a bit too aligned today. Everybody is like one
but we
side
brought up
though, right?
different scenarios. So I think that's the
I mean, I'll be
important
very happy
thing.
to host another session with like all the managers that take a different
The
position.
older ones, you
it's
mean?
like, hey, control. Okay, but okay. Not everybody has that luxury to get into a culture like that or work in a place like this or be in a power structure that they can decide a lot of these things. So if someone is in that situation and they want to kind of fight for a little bit more space to work from home or work from anywhere for a few days without telling them to quit, okay? Like what is an advice for them?
My advice would be for the employee, right? Communicate this to your boss. Have an honest conversation that, hi, I need this to perform. I find that this is now killing my spirit or whatever it is. Can we try it out for 1 month? And if you feel that doesn't work, it affects the company's productivity or whatever, then we can discuss again. But having that safe space to try and experiment. No, don't judge straight away, right? Let the person prove their worth.
Yeah,
that
I
would
will
be my
ask them to like gather a few friends together. Because strength in numbers.
So to tilt the power balance back by doing numbers.
Correct. And then again, because people sometimes get very scared, right? They think that everything that they say will be taken against them, right? But you don't try, you don't ask, you don't know what. So you got to ask, but strength in numbers. So let's together go
It's a
and
good
see.
strategy.
So we put the strength in numbers together with your strategy. The time-based strategy, like 1 month, right? Then I think it should be okay. If the boss still like, no, cannot, you must come back to the office, which I think, I don't know what kind of boss is that, lah. Like,
Have.
have,
Really have.
are they 70?
Don't say.
69.
69?
Very,
or
very,
50?
yeah, more of the old school ones or people who are, let's just say they themselves might skive. Maybe that's why they expect it.
Okay. I don't understand how these people.
But
I
it
think,
reflects on the bosses when
Yeah.
they impose this, just that they
Yeah.
probably are not as self-aware.
No,
Yeah.
but it's interesting. I mean, like my producer Warren, right? He's probably gonna cut this lah, and then he was like that. Like we did a budget thing together, right? Like with Rice, and then he was like, "Can you care about me a bit more? Why? I trust you. What? Just do lah." I don't know where's the question. We haven't unpacked that, but it's so interesting, right? Like
Okay.
Like-
he wants
like-
you to bother.
yeah, it's like why you not bothering? I was like, okay, let's we talk about this, huh?
Yeah, I
Okay,
need to talk
when
about
back
that. So I
to
think
KL.
like once that
Yeah.
has been raised, then you know what that person needs and you can decide if it's in your means to give more sayang and whatever the
Yeah, yeah.
person
Yeah,
needs
I
to
agree,
function,
no?
right?
Yeah, I agree. My social media person also came up to me. I said, Zad, can we have our monthly check-ins? I'm like, what is this monthly check-in about? So I know I just want to like have a chat with you every month. I thought we agreed on this. Sure. I'm sure we did at some point. Okay, let's check in. So what is it you don't talk about? No, and I find it so strange because I feel like I come from a world, right, where you talk to me only when there's a problem and I can solve the problem for you.
But this person wants to talk to bond, to
They
connect,
just want to talk
right?
to like, I want to tell you what's happening with my life.
Mm.
Sure?
Mm-mm.
For sure?
Which is so interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's like new era culture, new era work culture and work ideas, such that the manager also need to update.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
it's true.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah.
I'm willing to talk to you.
Yeah.
I think having
Saranghe,
that
right?
awareness and respect for your the people under you also
Yeah.
is super important. That's perhaps the only way that we can, bring about this change.
Perhaps it is.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Yeah. That's good. Thank you. I hope you find today's episode useful and
Send it to your boss.
yeah, send it to your
Yeah.
boss. So not we say one. Or you can like send to somewhere, like the LinkedIn Fafa, like turn one round, like some thread, now they make it viral, then it gets to your boss.
Yeah.
Love this podcast.
That's
Then
why,
your
yeah.
boss see and like, what exactly did this
No, or
person
you
love
can be
about it?
no. Or you love this podcast a bit too sharp. You can be like, actually, I don't fully agree with this podcast. This is, but there are some valid points. Share. Right, so
Yeah.
much rounder, right?
Indirect,
Yeah,
passive
yeah.
aggressive.
No, not passive aggressive. It's called indirect, right? So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Love